This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last session, we have discussed about the custom controller, and we have discussed what exactly the custom controller, what is the use, how to prepare the custom controller, and how can we reference the custom controller inside our Visualforce page. Yesterday we have discussed. Now, today we'll see some more examples on this custom controller. How can we use to implement some complex business logics as well. Now, slowly I'm going to making the things complex. Okay, so do the practice on regular basis. Okay, don't make the things pending. That will be very difficult for you to understand when moving forward. Now, so let's take one more use case. So now I have a small requirement. Assume that I have a Visualforce page. I have a Visualforce page. Whenever this page is getting loaded, okay, whenever this page is getting loaded, okay, whenever the page is getting loaded, I want to insert an account record inside my object. Whenever the page is getting loaded, that means upon running that page itself, it has to create one account record inside my account object. That account record ID, it has to show on my Visualforce page. That account record ID, I want to show inside my Visualforce page. Then how can we do this one? So whenever your page is getting loaded, like if you know any Java programming or .NET programming, there the people are using some events, page load event, okay, page load. Whenever the page is getting loaded, if you want to do some operation, if you want to perform some operations, then we can go with the page load event. So here, whenever the page is getting loaded, I want to insert one account record inside my account object. How to insert the account record? You know that piece of code. Because create the object of the account class, and then we can supply the value for the fields, use insert ACC. Because that part is over, same, no change. But that part of code I want to invoke whenever the page is getting loaded. Upon loading the page, whenever the page is getting loaded, then I want to call that particular piece of code. So that what I want to do is I want to prepare my own class. I want to prepare my own class. Inside this class, I would like to prepare a method. So inside this method, I would like to write that piece of code. To inside this account record, whatever the piece of code is required, I'm writing the piece of code inside this. Then this method I would like to call whenever my page is getting loaded. While page is getting loaded, if you want to call any method, then what we can do? What is that property? Upon loading the page, if you want to invoke any method, then what we can do? Do we have any such facilities in Salesforce? Yes. What is that? During that page tag, already I have given one property to you. During the page tag, already I have given some properties to you. So now inside my page tag, I have given a property that is called as action property. Action property equals to the name of the method which you would like to invoke. That means what? Whenever your page is getting loaded, if you want to perform any action, if you want to perform any operation, that piece of code we can write inside this method, and then this method we can call by loading the page by using action property. Inside the page tag, we can use this action property. In this action property, we can specify the name of the method in which that code has been written. That's it, simple concept, nothing else. Now, let's see in this case, how can we do this implementation? Now, let's take that use case. Now, design a Visualforce page to create an account record inside the object while loading the page. While loading the page, I want to insert an account record inside my account object. Whenever the page is getting loaded, I want to insert an account record inside my account object. Then how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, so let me design this. How can we do that? Now I'm indicating Apex create new account page. Create new account page. But this page already we have designed. Create new account record page. Now I'm designing a page with the name create new account record page. So click on this link. The page has been created. The page has been created. By default, it is giving some default code. Remove this default code. Now this page is empty. My requirement is what? When you click on this particular save button, the page will be getting compiled. It will be running that page. Okay, it will be compiled. It will be running that page. So in this case, what we can do? How can we perform some operation whenever this page is getting loaded? Whenever the page is getting loaded, how can we perform these operations? Okay, now let's see practically. In this case, upon loading the page, if you want to perform any operation, then we have to use a method. In that method, we have to write that piece of code. Then where we can write that method? Inside a class. Okay, inside a class. So that I'm indicating. So what is that class? I'm using this control. Controller equals to, I'm preparing that method class, create new account record controller. Create new account record controller. This is the controller class which I'm going to prepare. But with this name, the class is not available. So I'm creating this class. Click on the second link. Class will be getting prepared for you. This is the class. Now, inside this class, I'm preparing the method. Public void create account record. Create account record. Inside this method, I'm writing this piece of code to insert the account record. Now, write the code to insert an account record. I'm creating the object of this class. Account is equals to new account. This piece of code is same. ACC dot name. I'm indicating VF page test account. ACC dot rating. I'm indicating art. ACC dot industry. I'm indicating like some banking. ACC dot type. I'm indicating prospect. ACC dot ownership. I'm indicating some public. ACC dot annual revenue. I'm indicating some 57 lakhs. ACC dot phone. I'm indicating this value. ACC dot fax. I'm giving some value. ACC dot website. I'm indicating some value. ACC dot billing city. I'm giving the value some Hyderabad. ACC dot billing state. I'm indicating Telangana. ACC dot billing country. I'm indicating India. ACC dot customer priority high. ACC dot active status some yes, and then I'm going to be inserting the record here. Insert ACC. So this is the record here. So you know this piece of code, it's not new. Okay, this already we are aware of how to create the records, related records, everything we know. So now the record will be getting created. So once the record has been getting created, then what I need to do, I need to show that record ID on my Visualforce page. So that what I want to do is, I want to print some message over here. So what is that my message? So I'm going to be indicating public string record result get and set. That means what? I'm defining a variable record a result. So this is the variable, string variable. In that variable, I would like to store that result. Okay, I would like to store the result of that record here. This result variable I want to show on my Visualforce page. Okay, now in this case, I'm verifying this. If acc.id not equals to null, if the acc.id not equals to null, then I want to show the message. Record result equals to account record inserted successfully with ID. acc.id. And then else record result equals to something went wrong while inserting the record. So I want to show this message here. That means what? Inside this variable, okay, inside this variable, I'm going to be storing that result. So initially I'm inserting the account record. Once the record has been inserted, I'm verifying if the ACC ID not equals to null. If the record ID is not null, I want to show, I would like to store this result here. This is the string value. Account record inserted successfully with the ID. This value I want to store inside my string variable, record result. Why I'm defining this variable inside my class level? Because this variable value I want to access from my Visualforce page. This result I want to show on my Visualforce page. So that here I'm going to be defining this variable in the class level with get and set, because this variable value I would like to get from my Visualforce page. And then if this particular record ID equals to null, then I want to show this message over here. Something went wrong while inserting record. Now, in this case here, this variable I want to show on my Visualforce page. So simply display this variable here. Simply display this variable. But in this case, what happened? Whenever we are calling this method, then only record will be getting created. Or else in this variable, default value is what? Null. Okay, in this record result variable, the default value is null. So what we need to do, I need to call this method. If the method has been invoked, then only it will be executing this piece of code. Then only it will be creating the record. It is storing this result. So how can we call this method while loading the page? Whenever you are loading the page, if you want to call the method, simply go to the page tag. You are having a property called as action property. Action property, specify the method name. That's it. So once you click on that save button, or once you use the Control S, automatically the page will be getting compiled. It will be executing that code. Upon executing that particular code, it will go to this respective class. It will invoke this method over here. The method will get called. It will insert the record. Result will be storing inside the variable. That variable value will be getting visible inside this. Okay. Now that's it. Simple concept. Now click on this save button. Automatically the piece of code will be getting executed. It is representing the result over here. Account record inserted successfully with the ID so and so value. This is how we can able to see. So now, for example, here, let me verify. So the record has been created. VF page test account. So the record has been created successfully. So this is my record details over here. These are the record details. So this is my record name, which we have created right now. VF page test account. These are the details which I have entered. Rating value, phone value, fax, website, ownership, annual revenue, type, industry, all this information, billing city, billing state, billing country, customer priority, active status, the whole information will be getting visible to you over here. So that whenever we are going to be performing any DML operations, okay, upon loading the page, we have to go with that method. So create a class, that means a custom class. In that custom class, create a method, and then in that method specify that business logic which you want to execute inside the record. Store this result inside the variable over here, and then this variable value we can show on my Visual First Page. Previously, what we did, we are able to print this value by using system.debug, but I don't want to use system.debug log file right now. I want to show everything on my Visual First Page, so that here we need to represent. Okay, we need to represent this result on the Visual First Page over here. That's
Firoz,
what.
one doubt, Firoz.
Yes.
Yesterday we used some constructor class to create one record and publish. Now today we are using this method. What is the difference between these two?
Now, why? Because suppose, for example, if you want to write this business logic inside that constructor, then what will happen is constructor doesn't allow you to perform the DML operations. Let me show you. I'm creating a record here. We have paid, okay, account simply. This code I'm going to be writing inside my constructor. This is the constructor. Public create account record controller. This is the constructor here. In this constructor, I have written this piece of code to create a new account record over there. Okay, now, so we no need to call this one because there is no method available. So this is the constructor. So whenever you are trying to be performing the DML operation inside the constructor, constructor doesn't support the DML operation. This is the problem. Let me show you. When you save this one, it will be indicating that. Now, so in this case, let me prepare this constructor. Now let me save this code here. Upon saving this code, it will be giving the error message to you. So now system dot limit exception DML statements currently not allowed. DML statements will not be allowed. Why? Because inside the constructor we can't perform any DML statements here. So now this is the constructor that we have. Create a new account record controller. In this constructor, upon loading this one, init nothing but initialization. Upon initializing that page, you are trying to be performing the DML operation inside the constructor. So constructor doesn't allow DML operation, but it will allow the SOQL queries also. That's what here we are going with that method. I have prepared a method. Both we can use. This is a common question. So now we can use that constructor or we can use that method. But whenever we are going to be using the DML statement, constructors doesn't support the DML statements, only methods you can use. If you are using some SOQL queries, upon loading the page, if you want to query some record, then SOQL queries you can write inside the constructor and the method also, both it will support. So for that reason here, we are not using this constructor, we are using this method. So that here I'm creating a method. Public void create account record. Create account record method. And now this method I would like to call whenever my page is getting loaded. So action property equals to, I'm going to be calling this. So now it is going to be inserting the record inside the object. It will be representing that record ID also over here. So one more new record will be getting created with the name VF page account. Okay. So this is having the record details are available here. VF page test account. So the record has been created. This is the way we can able to perform these operations as well. Okay. So in this case, whenever we are going to be performing the DML operation upon loading the page, don't write the DML statements inside the constructor because constructor doesn't allow any DML statement, but it will allow the SOQL queries. But method will support both. Method will support both DML statements and SOQL queries also both. For that reason, upon loading the page, if you want to perform any DML operation, then always we have to go with methods. Now, let me place this piece of code.
The voice is not getting.
So while loading this page, we can't write the DML statements inside the constructor. That is, constructor doesn't support the DML statement, but it will support SOQ queries. But it will support SOQ queries. Now, so this is the way we are going to be writing this piece of code. Now, so as of now, we have performed the various operations by using this custom controller. So we have used the custom controller, and as part of this custom controller, we have prepared the methods, and those methods also we have invoked from the custom controller from the Visualforce page by using this action properties. Now, let's go with that some more complex user interfaces. As of now, we haven't prepared any user interface. Just we have specified the values. Okay, inside the business logic itself, we have hard-coded the values, and then we are inserting the record as of now. But now, I would like to perform some operations by using some user interface. Then how can we place? Now let me explain. So let me explain about a new tag, input text tag. Input text tag. So what exactly the input text tag? What is the use? Input text tag is used to represent or place a text box control on the Visualforce page. On a Visualforce page, if you want to place one text box, then we have to use a tag called as input text tag. Okay, input text tag is used to place a text box control on the Visualforce page, so that through the text box we can supply some input values to the application. Through the text box, we can supply some input value to the application. Like for example, yesterday we have discussed about one small example for the calculator. So this is the calculator application where we need to enter some first number value, second number value. To enter these values, we need to have some text boxes, right? Yes. So in order to place these text boxes, we are using a tag called as input text tag. Input text tag is used to place a text box control on your Visualforce page. Okay, now, so in this text box, we can enter some value. Okay, in this text box, we can enter some value. Through this value, we can able to supply the value to the application, and we can perform some operations. so that in this text box we can enter some values, and these values we can able to pass to my application as input, so that we can perform some operations on my application as well. Here the facility is available. So now in this case, the input text box tag is used to place one text box control on the Visual Force page, which can be used to supply the input values to your application at runtime. Now, so now let's see in this case, how can we use this input text tag? What are the various properties are available? This tag is used to represent a text box control on the Visual Force page. This tag is used to represent a text box control on the Visual Force page, so that we can supply the input values to the application. Input values to the application at runtime. This tag is used to represent a text box control on the Visual Force page, so that we can supply the input values to the application at runtime. So depends upon your application requirement, we can place a number of text boxes also. We can represent one or more text box controls on the Visual Force page. We can represent one or more text box controls on the Visual Force page by using multiple input text tag. Each input text tag, input text, nothing but this is a text box control which is used to give some input to my application. Like for example, when you go to some login screen, we have two text boxes. One is for username, second one is for password. So like that here, we can able to place some text box controls on the Visual Force page, so which is used to enter some values, so that we can pass those values to the application at runtime. That facility is available here. So in this case, whenever if you want to pass the input values to the application at runtime, we are using the help of input text tag. Now let's see practically in this case, how can we use this? So in this case, how can we place this input text tag, and what are the various properties are available? Let's see the properties. First property is ID property. ID property is used to specify the reference name. ID property is used to specify the reference name. This is used to specify the reference name, so that we can identify the text box control on your Visual Force page uniquely. In order to identify the control on the page uniquely, we are using the help of this ID property. You know this ID property. Next, second one, label property. Label property is used to specify the label for the text box. Label for the text box. Label for the text box. That means what? Whenever I'm going to be preparing a text box, for example, let me show you. Whenever I'm using this tag like Apex input text by Apex input text, then what it will do, simply it is going to placing one text box control. That's it. Simply it will place one text box. That's it. Blind, no label, nothing. So in this case, then what the value the user can enter inside this? Which value the user can enter inside this? How do we know? For that one, we need to give some label, right? Yes. For that one, I'm indicating the label over here. Label equals to enter such a text. Label equals to enter such a text. I'm indicating this. So whenever I'm going to be indicating, okay, label equals to enter such a text, then at that time, for this text box, it is going to providing the label also. For this text box, it will provide the label over there. Enter such a text. Enter such a text. It is providing some label over here. Now, sometimes we can raise a question. Sir, inside my text box, I want to give some watermark. Like for example, when you go to this text here. In this case, when you go to this text here, inside this text box, we are having some watermark, such. Like that, I want to give some watermark over here. Then what we can do? For that one, it is providing a property over here. The third property is HTML placeholder. HTML placeholder, which is used to specify the watermark text inside the text box. In order to give the watermark, inside the text box, we are using the help of a property called as HTML placeholder property. Now, in this case, if I'm giving like this, now if I'm giving that property like HTML placeholder equals to, I'm indicating enter such a text. Then at that time, it is going to be placing that watermark over. Inside my text box, I will be getting a watermark. Enter such a text. It will prepare the watermark over. So for that reason, we are using that help of this text box that is called as HTML placeholder property. Next, fourth property, render. You want to display this particular text box on the Visual First page. For that one, we are going to be using a property called as rendered property. So rendered property is used to indicate whether this text box can be visible on the user interface or not. If you want to display this text box on the Visual First page or not, please decide that we are going to be using the help of a property called as rendered property. Next, the fifth property. Now, the fifth property. The fifth property is value property. Value property is used to specify the variable name. Variable name. So why we are specifying the variable name? Because whatever the value that I have entered inside my text box, where it has to go. Now this value should be passing to my application, right? In which variable it has to be get stored. Suppose, for example, I'm having a class. Public class accounts helper. Inside this class, I'm defining a variable. Public string search text. I'm defining a variable get and set. So in this case here, what I want to do, whatever the value that I'm entering, okay, whatever the value that I'm entering in my text box, this value has to be stored inside my variable here, so that this variable will collect that value. Based on that, I will do the searching mechanism, and that result I can display in my Visual First page. So in this case, whenever if you want to represent, okay, whenever if you want to represent this text box value into your class variable, we have to use a property called as a value property. So in that one, we have to specify value equals to specify the variable name. such a text. You have to specify the property value equals to such a text property. And then after that, these are few properties are available as part of your input text tag. Input text tag is used to represent a text box control on the Visualforce page so that we can supply some input values to the application at runtime. Okay, we can supply the input values to the application at runtime. Depends upon the application requirement, we can able to pass some input values to the application at runtime with the help of this input text tag. Okay, now then how can we implement these functionalities? Now let's see practically in this case. So let me take a small example, and then how can we place this text box control? We'll see practically, and then how can we perform the operations with the input values? We'll see practically. Now, let's see the practical part. Take a small use case. Now my requirement is I want to implement a small calculator feature. Like previously we have discussed, I want to implement the small calculator feature. So here the example I would like to implement. I want to prepare the implementation like this. I want to implement a basic calculator where the user can enter the input values at runtime, and then upon click on the respective button control, it has to show the result on my Visualforce page. It has to show the result on my Visualforce page. Now, so now how can we design this user interface by placing some text boxes? How to place the button controls we'll see first, and then we'll see how can we write the business logic to perform some operations, to invoke some actions. How to do that we'll see practically in this case. So let me go with this implementation. Let me take the use case. Design a Visualforce page. Design a Visualforce page to implement the basic calculator. To implement the basic calculator. To implement the basic calculator. And perform the operations by using the button controls. I want to implement a basic calculator. Not only designing just the user interface, I would like to perform the operations also. Okay, I would like to perform the operations also on this particular input value. So whatever the values we have specified, on that values I would like to perform the operations also. So then how can we do that? Now let's see practically in this case. First of all, let me design the user interface first by placing the text boxes, and then we'll see how can we perform the actions, how to perform the operation by writing the business logic. I will show you practically in this case one by one. Now, so let me create a Visualforce page right now. How I'm designing a Visualforce page. Basic calculator page. So with this name, there is no page has been designed as of now. I'm creating a Visual Force page right now. So now click on this link. Now design the user interface first. I'm specifying the default properties. Setup equals to false. Sidebar equals to false. Show header equals to true. Tab style equals to hiring manager object tab style I'm applying for my Visual Force page. I'm applying the hiring manager object tab style. And I'm indicating the section header. Title equals to calculator. Subtitle equals to basic calculator. I'm placing the title and the subtitle. Next, effects, form control. Here I'm placing the page block. I'm placing the page block. For this page block, I'm giving the title. For this page block, I'm giving the title. So now I'm giving the title equals to basic calculator block. Basic calculator block. And then here I'm going to placing the page block section. In this page block section, I want to place the text boxes because these are the text boxes I would like to place inside that section. How to place this text box inside these sections? Let me show you practically. Now, so I'm indicating the section label, nothing but section title equals to calculator section. Number of columns to be used to arrange the fields is 1. In only one column, I want to arrange the fields. And then I want to indicate the collapsible option. Collapsible equals to 2. I'm placing a page block, and along with the page block, I'm placing the page block section also. In this page block section, I would like to place the actual user interface controls. Apex, input text. Whenever I'm specifying the input text, it is indicating there's simply a text box. Nothing label, there is no label, nothing. If I'm placing like this, then how the people can understand what is the purpose of this text box? The people can't understand. Now, in this case here, I'm indicating input text label property. Label equals to enter first number. So now I'm placing the label over here, which will be representing the label. Now I want to place some watermark, so that I'm using HTML placeholder. HTML placeholder, I'm indicating. Enter first number. Enter first. Now it will represent the watermark also inside this. See, it is providing the watermark also inside my text box. Like the similar way, I want to place the another text box. Input text label equals to enter second number. I'm indicating the HTML placeholder. Enter second. I'm placing the second text box also. And then I want to represent the result. To display the result, I don't want to use text box. Why? Because if I'm using text box, user can edit that content. So I don't want to give the chance to the user. I don't want to give the chance to the user, so that I'm using the output label. Simply like as a label. Now I'm indicating operation result is I want to show in the form of bold format. Bold type. Here I'm representing here operation result is I want to show this result over here. So now it has to show this result value over here. Then, so I'm placing some text boxes here to represent the result. I'm going to place in one label control. Now I want to place the button controls now. For that one, I'm using the page block buttons. Apex page block buttons section. I'm indicating the location equals to bottom. Don't display this button controls at both the places. Please display only at the bottom place. I'm placing the command button. Command button value equals to addition. Apex command button value equals to subtraction. Apex command button value equals to multiplication. Apex command button value equals to division. Apex command button value equals to modulus. These are the button controls which I'm placing on my user interface. After entering these input values, when the user click on this button controls, I would like to perform these operations. So whatever the input values the user has entered, then after entering some value, for example, I'm giving the value 5000 and second number as some 5. When I click on addition, it has to perform the addition of these two values. It has to show the result over here. When I click on subtraction, it has to show the result. When I click on multiplication, display the result here. Division, result here. Modulus, result here. So that whatever the button that you click, depends upon that button click, it has to perform the respective operation. It has to display the result on this particular user interface. Now, so in this case, how can we perform these operations? As of now, we have prepared the user interface. My user interface is ready. Okay, my user interface is ready. So now I would like to perform some actions. So whatever the input values you have entered, on that input values, I would like to perform some operations. So that we need to write the business logic. We have to write the business logic on this. How can we write the business logic? By preparing a controller class. So I'm preparing the controller. Controller basic calculator controller. I'm preparing the controller class with the name basic calculator controller. Now, so in this case, I would like to prepare a controller class. Click on save. Now it is indicating that we don't have the class with this specific name. But my requirement is what I want to create this class. So click on this second link, automatically class will be getting prepared for. Now, my class is ready. Then what we can do? If you want to perform the operations on these values, then first of all, we have to collect these values, right? Yes. From where? From this text box, I would like to collect the value. What values we are entering here? Numerical values. So I need to store these values inside my variable. So whatever the text box values you have entered, whatever the first number value that you have entered, I want to collect this value to my controller class so that I can perform the operation. Second number value also I would like to collect, and I want to collect this value. So we are collecting this first number value, second number value. Both are what? Numerical. To store this value inside my controller class, we need some variables, right? Yes, I'm defining this variable. So I'm defining the variable public integer first number. Okay, first number. Get and set. Why I'm defining get and set? Because for this particular variable, value is coming from where? From the user interface. So this variable can be binding to my text box over here. So that whenever I'm binding this variable with my text box, then whatever the value you will enter inside this text box, that value will be coming into your variable automatically by default. Now, second one, public integer second number variable. Get and set. So second number value also I would like to collect. So to store that value, I'm defining one more variable, integer second number. To store the result, I'm using one more variable, public integer result. This value I want to show on my Visualforce page. So this result value I want to show. For that one here I'm defining with get and set. So whatever the variables you would like to access from the Visualforce page, those variables should be defined with get and set accessors. So get accessory is used to get the value of this variable into your user interface. Set accessory is used to set the value from text to your controller class. So now here we have prepared this controller. We have prepared these variables. Now these are the variables we have defined. But now we need to map the connection. That means what is my requirement? Whatever the value that we're entering in the first number text box, that value has to store inside this variable. Whatever the value that I'm entering in the second number text box, that value should be storing inside that second number variable here. Then how can we bind this one? How can we inform the Visualforce page, boss, whatever the number that I'm entering in the first number text box, please store that value in first number variable. Whatever the value that I'm entering in second number text box, please store that value in second number variable. How can we inform to the Visualforce page? For that one, that already we have discussed a property. Value equals to variable name. That means whatever the value we have entered in this text box, this value should store in which variable? In first number variable. So that go to that text box control. This is the first number text box here. First number text box. Now in this variable, whatever the value that we are entering, please store that value inside a variable. What is that variable? First number variable. So whatever the value that we are entering in my text box, please store this value inside this variable. Like the similar way. Whatever the value that I am entering in the second number text box, please store that value in the second number variable. Okay, please store that value in second number variable. Now let's see. And result where you want to show, I want to show the result over here. Okay, I want to show the result. So result value I want to display over here. Operation result is I want to show the result value. Now in this case, now we have binded. That means we have prepared the text boxes. We have placed that controller class variables, and then we have mapped the connection between these two. Now, whenever I'm entering some value like as some 4000, second number value like as some 400. So both the values will be coming into these variables. From there, once you click on this addition button, I want to perform some operation. So that I need to prepare a method. Because upon click on the button control, if you want to perform some action, write that business logic inside a method. Okay, write that business logic inside a method and call that method by using action property. You know the concept here. So public void addition. Here I would like to perform the operation. What is that operation? Result equals to first number plus second number. That's it. That means whatever the first number value that we have, because here whatever the value we have entered inside my first number text box, that value is there inside my first number variable. Whatever the value we have entered in the second number text box, that value is there in the second number variable here. So values are available inside my class. So collect this value, first number value, second number value. Perform the addition operation, store that result over here. So call this method upon click on this addition button control here. That's it. It will display this, it will perform this operation. Result will be getting storing inside the variable. This value will be getting visible in this place over here automatically. Okay, these are functionality. Now, next one, like the similar way. Public void subtraction. I'm indicating result equals to first number minus second number. Public void multiply. Result equals to first number into second number. And public void division. Result equals to first number by second number. Public void modulus, nothing but remainder. Result equals to math dot mod of first number value comma second number value. I have prepared this methods over here. I have prepared my methods. Now the methods are going to be having some business logic inside this. Now I would like to invoke this business logic. When you want to invoke this business logic, upon click on this addition button, I want to call that addition method here. Upon click on the subtraction button, I want to call subtraction method. Upon click on this multiplication button, I want to call multiply method. Upon click on division button, I want to call this a division method. Upon click on this modulus button, I want to call this modulus method. Then how can we call? How can we invoke? So when you click on the button control, if you want to perform some action, okay, upon click on the button control, if you want to perform some action, then we have to use that action property. So go to the button control, specify that action property over here. Now, addition button, action. Which method you would like to call? What is that method? My method name is addition. And then subtraction. What is that method name? Subtraction. Action. Which method you would like to call? Multiply. Action. Which method you would like to call? I would like to call the division. Which method you would like to call now? Now let me explain. Modulus. Action equals to, I would like to specify. Modulus. Okay, modulus. So now here in this case, now here in this case, we are having this, the button controls. Upon click on the button control, we are calling the respective business logic. So that method will be getting called. The method will be performing the operation, storing the result inside this variable. That result value will be getting visible. Now that's it. Now let's see. I'm giving the value some 15,000. Second number value, some. Click on addition. Once you click on addition, it is showing the result 15,040. When you click on subtraction, we can perform this operation result 14,960. Multiplication result also. Division result also. Modulus result also. That means what it is going to performing these respective operations here. Now, in this case, what happened when you click on the button control, the whole page is getting refreshing. But I don't want to refresh the whole page. I want to refresh only this particular part of this page over here. Only this particular result part I want to refresh. Upon click on the button control, a different result will be getting performed, different result will be getting returned, so that I want to display that result over here. Only this result I want to refresh. Then how can we refresh only the part of the page? By using re-render. Re-render. Rendering means what? Display. Re-render means re-display. That means refresh. So upon click on this button control, the whole page is getting refreshing. I don't want to refresh the whole page. I want to refresh only the result part over here. For that reason, we are using that re-render. Which part you want to re-render? Only this result. How can we identify this result? This is the control. What is that control? Output label. How to identify a control generally? By using ID property. Here I'm giving a ID. ID equals to, I'm indicating some RES. You can give any name here. Okay, for our For your reference, you can give any name here. I'm indicating some RES. I want to refresh only this particular part. So upon click on this button control, you can re-render. Re-render equals to RES. That means result part. That means this is the component ID. What is that component here? RES means this is the ID of that component, that is output label, which will display result part. Also, only this part will be getting refreshed. Don't refresh the whole page. Refresh only this particular part over here. Now, I want to indicate re-render equals to RES. Here also, upon click on multiplication button, also I want to refresh only that result part. Upon click on this division, also I want to refresh only that result part. Upon click on this modulus, also I want to refresh only that result part. So don't refresh the whole page. Please refresh only that particular result part. The remaining part of the page don't refresh, because the people will get confused. It will be making one server trip, but don't do that operation. Please perform only the client side refreshing. For that one, we are using re-render. Every property, you know, already we have discussed during the tag properties concept. Here I have given each and every property the descriptions also. What is the use of these properties? When you go to the command button, re-render property, component reference name to refresh that particular component. Which component you would like to refresh? Every property I have given that information to you. Okay, now that's it. Save this code. Now perform the operation. I'm indicating like as some 45,000, and then here I'm indicating 20. Click on addition. Page is not refreshing, only the result part is refreshing. Subtraction result, multiplication result, division result, modulus result. So it is not refreshing the whole page, it is refreshing only this part of this page. Suppose I'm indicating some different value over here. Click on addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the modulus. The whole information we can able to see that part here. This is the way we can able to implement some basic calculator applications, and then we can able to implement your own custom controller. We can perform the operations also. Okay, if you know this example, further concepts will be very easy for you, because here, so these are, I think few people might be having some confusions. Sir, why you are writing in the Apex class? Why you are referencing the Visual Force? This is some confusion concept here in the starting classes. If you observe this one, if you are able to understand, further concepts are very simple for you. That's what I'm going a bit slow. That's what I'm giving very less examples every day. I can take up some 2.5 hour session. I can complete more part, but you will get confused. You can't understand. That's what I'm giving a bit slow. Even though it may be taking 2 more sessions, also no problem for me. But my aim is you should be able to write the code by your own. Now, so in this case here, so we are going to be writing the respective user interfaces, and then we are preparing the business logic, and then we are going to be invoking this business logic by using the button controls also. Okay. So let me place this code.
Sir?
Yeah.
So one question. So
Yeah,
Apex input field also doing the same thing, right, sir?
No. See, input field is used to bind one control, nothing but one field information. Input field is used to bind a object field. This is for text box, only for text box. We are not by using any object here, because tell me, in this particular calculator application, do we have any? We are using any objects here? Standard objects, custom objects, are we using here? No. It's my own custom. In this case here, we can go with the text boxes. Input field tag is used to bind one object field, so that based on the field properties, based on the field data type, it is providing the visual appearance here. Okay. Now, simple concept is, whenever if you want to interact with your objects through this user interface, go with input field. If you are building completely custom, then we can go with that input text box to place simply text box control. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yep.
if we want to see
Sir,
what's
how
the
can
code
I
written
mention
in
input?
class again, do we need to open that page and we need to check it again?
Which one?
If example, we have written the code in this basic controller class, example, this one, the one which, if you
Okay.
want to see the code, what is written in this again, after a couple of days after, then
Directly we can see, because this is the class, right? How can we see the class code? Simply we can go to your multiple mechanisms. Go to the standard controller. So the standard navigation like a setup. Go to that, develop Apex
console.
classes. Simple Apex class concept only here. Like as whatever the class is, basic calculator controller. Class code you can see. Or else you can go to your developer console also. Same navigation, nothing different. Go to the developer console. From here also we can see that class code. Go to the file menu, open that, specify the class name. What is my class name? My class name is basic calculator controller. We can see the class code from here also. Any one of the way it goes. Okay. The code will be storing in one location only, but to view that, multiple ways are available for us. Standard navigation we can use, URL format we can use, developer console we can use, like that. We can use multiple ways.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, for input text, how can we restrict only numbers can be entered like that?
Then we have to write that code. Inside this particular code, we have to write that value. So whatever the value the user has entered, is it a character or is it a digit? Okay, is it a character? Is it a digit? We have to identify that here. So based on that, we can show some error messages also. Upon entering some values, the user can able to validate. We'll see how to do the validations in tomorrow's session. Because here,
in Visual Force, we don't have any property, sir.
no, we don't have any property.
Hello.
Okay, we don't have any property over there. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, we have math operations or many like square roots. We can add the method also.
We can able to use all those methods, square root methods, everything we can use. Length
By
method, everything we can able
methods.
to use. Here we have to prepare that. You have to place the button controls over here, and then we can able to perform the operations also.
Okay, okay.
In this case here, in this example, I will show you one small problem. Okay, in this example, I will show you one small problem. Let me explain. So now, this is the numerical values we have entered. Upon click on the button control, suppose I'm indicating like some 80. I'm performing the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and the division and the modulus, everything I'm able to perform in this case. Now, so now here in this case, suppose for example, user has entered the value 0. First number is some 45,000, second number is 0. When I click on addition, the result is visible, same 45,000 plus 0, same 45,000. Subtraction, same result. Multiplication, 0. Division, what will happen in this case? When you click on division, it is showing the error message. It is showing the error message. Because you know that we can't divide a number by 0. Apex programming can't handle. Because whenever I'm dividing a number by 0, it is raising the value as infinitive. But we don't have any such a data type in Apex programming to handle or to store the value infinitive. It's an undesired value, unexpected value. So it is raising an exception to me over here. That is system.math exception divided by 0. It is unable to handle. Then what we can do? I need to cross-check that value. Then I want to show some error message over here. How to show the error messages on the Visual Force page? Upon click on this button control like this here. Like for example, when you click on this, after entering some values, if you entering the second number value as 0, when you click on division button, first of all, I want to verify the second number value is greater than 0 or not. If it is greater than 0, that means it may be 1, 2, 3, 4, anything, whatever. If that is the value, then I would like to perform the operation. If it is equals to 0, I want to show some error messages on your Visual Force page. That means, boss, you are passing the second number value as 0, which we can't able to handle. So please enter the correct value over here. Then how can we show the error messages on our Visual Force page? We'll see in tomorrow's session. For that one, we are using a separate tag called as page messages tag. Page messages tag. Affect page messages. So this is one of the tag given by Visual Force. So in order to show some error messages, on your Visual Force page, whatever the custom error message you want to show on the Visual Force page, to show that error messages on the Visual Force page, we are using a tag called as page messages tag. How can we use this page messages tag? How to show these error messages on my Visual Force page? How to display some icons also? What icons are available in Visual Force programming? How to show these error messages through programmatically? We'll see practically in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we'll see how to handle the error messages to be visible on the Visual Force page. We'll see practically over here. After that, we'll see the concept of database interaction. Database interaction. That means how can we connect to the database? Because as of now, we are performing some basic calculations. But now I want to collect the data from database here. How to connect to the database, how to query the data, how to represent by using the page block tables. We'll see it practically. There we are discussing about a tag called as page block table tag. Apex page block table tag. How to use this page block table tag to display the table on the Visual Force page, we'll see practically in tomorrow's session. But for that one, today's concept is very, very important for you. If you are able to do that here, today's topic, then tomorrow's concept is very easy for you. Because here today we have used some little bit confusing, like as we have prepared the controller class, we have prepared the user interface, we are going to be defining some variables, mapping the connection between the text boxes and the variables, we are invoking the methods also, we are refreshing some specific part of the page also. We did all these things. If you are feeling comfortable with this part, tomorrow's concept is very, very easy for you. Okay, base concepts are very, very easy. If you know these basic functionalities, further concepts are very easy for you. You can do by your own also, no problem. Okay, so do the practice on this one today. Tomorrow we'll see that page messages, how can we show the error messages on the page, and we'll see the database interactions also. After that, we'll see few more most important concepts are Visual Force programming as well. Okay.